Way back since the 1940s, organ donation has been a great initiative that has saved hundreds of lives in Australia every single year. Every day there is someone in need of an organ transplant. Well, not only just one person, but in fact hundreds. Yet so far we have done a satisfactory job with playing our part in saving people's lives. Did you know? Only 65% are willing to donate their organs or tissues when they die. See, these numbers are good, but the other 35% seems to be missing. This could be for many reasons. This could be for reasons such as religious views, myths about its bad hygiene, but most importantly and most likely, the lack of awareness towards organ donation in Australia. The lack of awareness of organ donation in Australia is a huge problem, as it is literally costing lives across the country, as people aren't getting the help that they need. But what is the donation process? The first step of organ donation is the donor has to be eligible to actually give their organs away, as prior to their death they had registered to become an organ donor on the Australian Organ Donation Registry. The second step is the patient has to die in a very specific way for them to become a donor, where their organs are still compatible to be used for an organ donation. After the patient has been pronounced brain dead, the hospital notifies the local Organ Procurement Organisation, otherwise known as the OPO. The OPO is notified whether the organs are compatible to be used for an organ donation. If so, the OPO will send a representative immediately to the hospital. After the organs are collected and the deceased person is confirmed as an organ donor, this is when the matching process starts. The matching process begins with a database with a list of all patients in Australia to whom may need the donation. This will show the body and blood types of the patients and what organs they need. When a person in need is found, a transplant surgeon will determine whether or not the patient would be compatible with the deceased donor's organs. And finally, when this is all settled, the organs will be sent away for the transplantation to take place. After a successful donation, the tragedy of one's life gives another one hope. A matter of fact, one deceased organ donor can save up to 8 lives at once. This is why it is extremely important to discuss with your family your feelings towards becoming an organ donor or letting them know you are one, so after you're gone, your family knows what you would have wanted. After all, it saves lives. Did you know? 9 in 10 families agree to donation when their loved one is a registered donor. This drops to 4 in 10 if the person is not registered and the family is unsure whether they are willing to be a donor. This is why it is important to tell your family, as lives can be saved by just having one simple conversation. These conversations can also save lives in your own family if tragedy was to one day strike to someone close to you. Organs from someone in your family have a higher chance of being compatible compared to an unknown donor. Sometimes family members aren't just donors if they are deceased. More often now we see family members donating different organs that they don't need to help save someone in their family's life. Meet Tyler, a young man who was helped by his brother after he was donated a kidney to help save his life.
I'm Tyler Scheid.
I'm Cindy Scheid, and I'm Tyler's mom.
I'm Tim Scheid. I'm Tyler's dad.
Tyler had blood in his urine with his first urinalysis. He was 2 or 3 years old. When he was in junior high, he showed with protein in his urine, so we had to have a kidney biopsy. So the prognosis over time was that he would probably in his 20s would go into kidney failure.
I went through high school. This was when I really started seeing Dr. Devarajan. So I went through my entire high school career, won the state championship in water polo my senior year. Freshman year of college, I decided I wanted to play football again. And sophomore year, they moved me to receiver. Come junior year, it was when I started into my kidney failure progression.
Dr. Devarajan, he said, well, we need to look into getting a transplant now.
One of my distinct memories is when I first heard the news that I needed a transplant was actually on my 20th birthday. And it was my two best friends that I was hanging out with. So right when I got the news, I was able to break it to them. Both of them offered to get tested. I had a lot of people come forward. I wasn't going around asking. I didn't even ask my brother, and he's the one who ended up giving me a kidney. Went to the hospital 2 days early. Had a bunch of friends come in to visit me. 20-some people in my room at one time.
I was actually kind of proud of Jared and both of them, actually. It was a little hard to take, especially waiting in the waiting room. That was probably the longest, 10, 12 hours. Unlike my wife, I had experience waiting on this because she is also a kidney transplant recipient, and I had to go through this twice.
I've actually had 2 kidney transplants. I had my first one in 1999. My sister gave me one of her kidneys, April of 2007. Got the call. It was a perfect match. It was also from a 2-year-old. So I actually got 2 more kidneys because of the size, because when they transplant a pediatric to an adult, they actually put both of them in.
Every July I actually call my brother. I don't care what he's doing. That transplant day I call him and I talk to him. Whether or not he says it or not, I know he likes that I call him. Organ donation is quite possibly one of the greatest gifts you can give somebody.
As you can see in this clip, Tyler and his family had plenty of experience when it came to organ donation, and as you saw for Tyler and his mum Cindy, it was their own family members who helped them get through kidney problems with donations. Tyler was most likely to have the tools and knowledge of organ donation because of his mother's past experiences. Her story definitely would have made it easier for Tyler to know what to do, feel safer and follow through with getting a donation. These stories show us how important donation awareness is and how it saves people's lives. I strongly recommend all Australians push to make organ donation awareness a big part of our lives so we can continue and improve donation in Australia. Anyone that has had any experiences with donation should speak out about their story and hope that other people will listen and join the donation registry. The more people on the registry, the more lives we can save.